The FNL Network Talk Show.
Hey everyone, welcome to our FNL Talk Show. We're here today with the amazing James and amazing Geoffery, and we have some amazing topics to talk with you about. Guys, how are you guys doing?
Doing
James.
great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. And you, Geoffery?
I'm doing really good. Thank you. Thank you.
I love your smiles, guys. You are all glowing. Tell me about it.
It's free time. It's free time. We're coming out of the winter and things are blossoming, so everybody's happy. Springtime, you're getting out.
It's always spring, summer in Miami and South Florida, so it's
not here.
It's either hot, or it's warm. And the weather here has been absolutely glorious. The winters in South Florida are perfection.
Oh, amazing. Over here, the sun is also finally shining, so we're happy. And you see that it does something to people. People glow up, they blow up, and they are all glowing and happy.
Fresh.
But yes, the world is very hectic right now. We have 3 topics for you today. We're going to talk about Zaghari being freed finally from Iran and returning to Britain. We're going to talk about Jussie Smollett, who had went to jail, but also has gone out. That was all in this week. And the last one is a topic that I'm not going to share yet. We're going to share it in a little bit, but it's something about how to be the best version of yourself. Yes, so guys, we're going to start with the first topic about Zaghari. She was held for 5 years in Iran. She finally has been freed. Did you guys hear about this topic over there? Because it's been in the news the whole week, a whole time.
I heard about it, but I thought were there 2 people that were detained and or 2 free or what? Because I had
there are 2 people that were detained, and she was the one in the news being freed as the woman, but there were 2. Yes, Geoffery, did you hear about it?
Yeah, once you sent the actual information, I read up on it, and I realized that she was a news journalist. And she got caught up over there and accused her husband was fasting for her release. And it was a big thing once I read the article. So yeah, I did read up on it.
Yes. And did you guys also see about the journalist who was talking about this and got very emotional? It was also went viral the last week about this topic, because for journalists, it's also, your job is very risky. You're going abroad, sometimes you're in a war zone or things like that. And in this case, she was held for 5 years. And that was such a tragic moment for her finally to come free and to be back is an amazing thing, actually, in these hard times. Could you guys imagine being in that situation?
Yeah.
I could imagine. I mean, she was detained at the Tehran airport in 2016 because she was supposedly accused of working with an organization that was the Iranian government. And it was, of course, like, obviously she wouldn't be home if this was proven to be true. So obviously it's not true. And she's back in the UK now. But it must have been extremely concerning for her. I mean, I wouldn't have known. You don't know what the future holds. You don't know if because they're such a crazy government, if they're going to do something besides just detain you. If one day they're going to come and knock on your door and say, "Come outside, we're going to shoot you in the head."
Yes, and those are just things that, in this particular case, it's out of your hand. It's out of your control in how you manage in such a situation, and also not being able at the moment to have all resources in your head to prove your innocence, and to have to plead for your innocence, actually, for people out there to believe you in such a risky situation. I cannot imagine being in such a situation. I would completely lose my mind. For me, proving your innocence without having all the resources that you need is just it's just a weakness for me, and you cannot prove what you want to prove, and you cannot come across how you want to come across. Everything that you say can be used against you, and therefore I'm very happy for her to be free from this case and to be back home, actually.
Well, that's why it's so wonderful to live in the United States, because under our judicial system, you're innocent until proven guilty. You're not assumed, you don't have to prove your innocence. You are, under the Constitution, you are already innocent. It's up to the state or whomever. The burden of proof is on them to prove your guilt. So that's why in Iran, they can just suspect you for anything and you're guilty and detained until you prove yourself not to be. So that's why it's a wonderful thing. I mean, I don't know what, I'm sure, hopefully it's the same way in Holland. Is that how it is for you guys? What's the law there? Are you?
For us, it's actually the same. It has to be, proof has to be in for you to be guilty for something. So that's the case. They take a very severe and close look to every detail and everything for them to be sure with the decision, that they make. So for that, here in the Netherlands, that is something that I personally am very, very proud of, that we take care of those situations the best that we can, and make sure that the investigation is going through all the phases that it needs to go to find out what the reality of the story is, and everything. Yes.
Yeah.
And for you, Geoffrey, what do you think about it? How do you look at this situation?
When I just hear about her story, I just think about her being able to keep her insanity. I mean, to be somewhere for 5 to 6 years, not having, like you said, not having resources to support you, and the only person is her husband. He's trying everything in his power to come and move on her innocence. I couldn't fathom that. Like 5 to 6 years is a long time to be under somebody's control, and you're innocent, but they're saying that you're guilty of something that you didn't do. It really behooves. But I know it was a breath of fresh air for her to get back on her soil and just breathe. Like I know the celebration, but just being in that situation, I couldn't. I think I would have been crazy. It's just unfortunate that she got caught up. But yeah, the love helped. Her husband, to me, was a story of genuine love, because he fought for her in those years. He sacrificed it, he fasted, and he showed that he loved his wife enough for her to be set free. So to me, that was a story within itself, just to see the love of, if we just show some compassion, what could happen. Even though it was 5 to 6 years, something good came out of it. And I think it's going to be a story written on it. So that's my opinion.
Yes.
Now, when she was back, excuse me, when she was back in Iran visiting, was she visiting on a personal or on a business trip?
That's the part that I didn't find out, but I believe it was business, because I think she was on a case over there as a journalist, because that's the detail that I'm missing in the information.
Well, then the question is, why did her media outlet that she worked for, why did they not do everything within their power to advocate for her release, financially and legally, everything? Why were they not there for her?
Yeah, that's something also that I looked up. I believe they did, but actually, because of the situation over there is different than in other places, it was difficult communication-wise, and to try every resource that they could. But they did try, yes, but till this week, not successful.
I wonder what changed that all of a sudden they decided to release her now. I mean, is it because they're trying to get in the good graces of the West because of the oil? And I don't know. It all has to do with politics, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it was a guy that came forth, right? Wasn't it the guy that came forth and spoke on and apologized? And he's supposed to be paying her a sum of money for the untruth in that her being in that situation. He spoke up about it when I actually saw it when I was researching.
I didn't see that.
Yes, I saw that too, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't very clear if that was specifically was the reason for her to be released. I'm also thinking that it has something to do with the situation that we're in right now, because I immediately thought about it to be very spontaneous. Let me put it like that. And for me, I think, as James, is there's another reason behind this happening at this moment, because it's for me, a very specific moment for this for this to happen.
Yeah.
But that actually also what you're saying, Geoffrey, that's true. But I couldn't get to the bottom of it, if that's really the case that they set her free. Yeah, so for me, that was something that was important. Have you guys had someone in your surroundings or yourself that has been in a situation without having all the resources to defend themselves? And did you guys do something to help the person?
I've never been in that situation, but we all can be in that situation through different situations with people. You know, people accusing you of things or calling you out of things, and you're trying to prove your innocence that you didn't do that or that's not your character. It's a hard battle when you have a whole bunch of others working against just you, and sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and let not really say anything, let God vindicate you, and the truth will come forward. But yeah, I think a lot of people have been in situations like that in their life, not literally in jail, but really in jail dealing with people as a whole, because people will put you in a box and they will ostracize you and make you feel like, you're less than, and you're trying to fight that you are somebody. So you can kind of read it different ways. It's just your perspective on what you perceive it as. So yeah.
Well, the good thing about our judicial system here is when you're incarcerated, arrested, or detained, you have the right to legal counsel. Whether you can afford one or not, it will be appointed to you through the court system. So if you are a person of no means or low means, they will appoint a court-appointed attorney to advocate on your behalf to help you gain justice, whatever it may be. In some countries, you're SOL. They're going to throw you in the hole and you're just going to stay there and rot. So I've never had anybody that languished in a prison cell or jail that I was concerned about. But you have the right to post bond. If you can't post bond, you can go to a bail bondsman. And they can help get you out. I mean,
yes. That brings us to the next subject about Jussie Smollett. We all know about the case a couple of years ago. He was in a situation that allegedly seems to be set up, or has been proven to be set up by him. Therefore, he had to go to jail. And this week, while going into jail, they asked him, like the normal procedure of being suicidal, because when people are celebrities or things like that, they normally specifically ask that question or tell you about if you are suicidal. And maybe he misunderstood the question and had the outburst of making sure that everyone knew that whatever happened in jail, that he was not suicidal. So he got 150 days going in. But after that being decided by the justice, a lot of things have happened, and he is actually don't need to do the 150 days anymore.
No.
Have you guys?
He doesn't have to do it at this point. The appellate court. The appellate court has, after 6 days, has come back, and the appellate court has ruled that he could be dismissed until his new trial comes to court. So they're saying, why is he going to have to wait into, it could take 150 days, which he has a 5-month sentence, until the new trial is ready. So they said, we're going to release him. But the thing is that everyone knows he's guilty. He's been proven guilty in a court of law. And he is only making things worse where he's so arrogant and so self-consumed and so vain that he thinks what he says, regardless of what the truth proves, that I say this, so therefore this is the truth. It's not the truth. He hired 2 Nigerians to perpetrate a hate crime against him.
Yeah.
And then he calls the Chicago police and he fills out a false police report. And then when they asked to see his cell phone to document records, he refused to turn that over. So they knew almost instantly that this guy is lying. And you may know that how it worked out. He said he was at Subway at, I think it was after midnight. I forget the exact time it was, but it was a vortex, a polar vortex where it's freezing cold in Chicago. And he said that there were 2 white guys in red Donald Trump mega hats with a bottle of bleach and a noose. And they said, hey, you're the F from Empire, aren't you? They threw the noose around his neck and poured bleach on him and tried to hang him. Come on, the guy. I mean, you don't have to be Albert Einstein to realize that things didn't add up. And so, of course, as it all the evidence comes forward, and I knew right away when I heard it make the news or the airways, I said, this guy's lying. He's a lying queen. So after he got found guilty, he went to jail for 6 days because he made a big stink saying that, he wanted to be released. He needed to be released. And he had the Black Lives Matter Incorporated, the big now defunct, found guilty of all kinds of money laundering and money theft organization here in the United States. They said that he needed to be released. Some actors were tweeting on his behalf. People were saying, oh, he suffered enough, blah, blah, blah. No, because what he needs to be, what he's being penalized for or prosecuted for or punished for is, what if it had not been proven that he was a liar? Because what he was trying to do is create a race war here in America. He was trying to say that people who support Donald Trump hate Black people, and this is what what they'll do to, make sure that they punish, So anyway, he was trying to label all Trump supporters and all basically white people as racist. And this country has had a history of not a very pretty history. And the wounds have healed for the most part until people who profit from this take the wounds, the scabs off and let it start festering again. I mean, it just goes to show you, in America, you have to hire 2 ultra Black Nigerians to create this called crime against you. Racism doesn't even exist. You've got to import it from a foreign country. I mean, and this hate hoax has just gone on. It's just, it's shameful. So that's why he needs to do his time. But he's very good friends with Kamala Harris, who is the vice president of the United States. And he's very good friends with the Obamas, because he's done events with them. And so, somewhere, the reason why he got out, somebody's pulled strings somewhere with sorts or some judge. In fact, if you'll give me a moment, I'll read to you on the day that this happened. Kamala Harris tweeted, Jussie Smollett is one of the kindest, most gentlest human beings I know. I am praying for his quick recovery. This was an attempted modern day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality and color of their skin. We must confront this hate. Okay, she tweeted that, but little do people know, she also had an anti-lynching bill that she was proposing in the Senate at this time period that passed 2 weeks later because of this whole ordeal. So did somebody get to him and tell him to stage a lynching attempt? Who knows?
Who knows?
But I think that, he has secrets and they're very fearful that he might start talking. So they're going to do everything they can to get this guy taken care of. At the same time, on January the 29th of 2019, Joe Biden, who was then the candidate for presidency, said, What happened today to Jussie Smollett must never be tolerated in this country. We must stand up and demand that we no longer give this hate safe harbor, that homophobia and racism have no place on our streets or in our hearts. We are with you, Jussie. I mean, these things are just, it just goes to show you how quickly they jump to conclusions because they want to believe it to be true. The Democrats want racism to be alive. They want it to be on every corner. They want every person to look at every Black person and every Black person to look at a white person and say, That's not the way it is. No. This country, I mean, I've traveled all around the world more than once, as I'm sure maybe you guys have. This is the least racist country in the world. Without question. Without question. Does it exist? Of course it exists. But it exists everywhere. But it doesn't make it right. But what I'm saying is that this whole hoax that he perpetrated on his own or with the pushing or the prodding or the incentivized from someone else, he needs to pay for the crime. He needs to pay. I think 5 months is not enough. Martha Stewart, who lied about a financial transaction, went to jail for her 6 months, and she didn't bat an eye. She went in, she didn't get out. And here's Jussie Smollett, hey, screaming and crying. I'm not suicidal. You're not going to kill me. Meanwhile, the defendants who are in jail right now in DC from January 6th, they're accused of what? Nonviolent trespassing, and they're not even being able to come to trial. They're not getting a trial date. So there's privilege there. You want to talk about privilege? That's privilege. It's wealth and it's connection. That's where Jussie Smollett is. He's privileged. Yeah. So I think what he gets, he deserves, and I don't think it's enough. And I'll shut my mouth and let you talk.
Geoffrey, what's your opinion about it?
I was kind of getting to what James said at the end. I feel like if he did the crime, he lied. He needs to do the crime. He needs to be sentenced for that. I think a lot of times it's evident that when you have money or if you're in the limelight and you're known, you have a slap on the wrist, and it's very unfair. And I don't care if he cry out and he said, he want to act like he's suicidal, or the outburst that he did in court. You still have to do the time. You did it. You lied and you were not telling the truth. You made up a fathom story, which is enough stuff going on right now in the earth with all this racial stuff. And you created something that was untruth. You should do the time. And I just don't like the way they brushed it off. And he's out, and people, like James said, are in jail, waiting for their trial, and they can't be released, and they're proven guilty until they're proven innocent. And he gets out, know that he lied, and he gets out in 6 days. To me, it's not right. It's just an unbalance in the judicial system that allowed him to get off that. You know what I'm saying? So that's my opinion on it. Is wrong is wrong, right is right, wrong is wrong. You did something, you need to be persecuted for what you did, so that you can learn. That's why you go to jail. It's a changing of the mindset. It's a disciplinary measure, because you're out in society creating lies and stuff, and people's lives have been changed and altered because of his lie. So you sit in jail to think about what you did, but
that's
you don't
right.
think it's wrong. So that's my
For me, the first time I heard about this story about him, I saw him talk about what happened to him. Immediately, my first reaction was he's acting. I believe he's lying. And when I feel something, most of the time most of the time it's right. And he was talking, I was like, is he lying? Because I'm not believing this story. But it was the first time he came out with the story. It was just happening, and I was like, is he lying? Because I'm not believing. And without looking at the facts or nothing, I was just looking at his face, his body expressions, and I was like, something doesn't add up. Something just doesn't feel right. And James just explaining about the other part, about the politics and things like that. I never thought about that case. I thought it was something like some type of an attention scream or something personally for him to get more attention. That's what I immediately thought seeing it for the first time and going in it. And I also believe if you did something wrong, you have to pay for it and you have to sit through the consequences as well. I was very surprised to see that this quickly, because let's keep in mind, he was sent to jail for 150 days this week, and also this week coming out for them to look at his case. And I was like, oh, I'm very surprised that it can go that quick and be like changed. And that for me surprised me. And I was like, there's something that doesn't smell right here, but I don't know what it is.
Also, if you've been paying attention to the case, he's got 6 lawyers, and he's already said that he's flat broke. Who's paying for those lawyers? Who's paying for his defense? It's not free.
Nope.
He's got 5 or 6 different attorneys, and he's not paying a dime. Who's paying for it? Is it the Obamas? Is it Kamala Harris? Who is it? Follow the money. Find out who's paying for his legal fees, because somebody made a phone call to somebody. Like, for example, Michelle Obama's secretary is the one who called Kim Fox's, who was the prosecuting office in Chicago, and said, drop the charges against him. And they did that initially. They dropped the charges. And then they said, no, that was illegal. You should not have dropped the charges. We want to reopen the case. And so now his attorney is saying, her, whatever Jussie says that he's already been tried once. You can't be tried twice for the same crime. Well, it's just not true, because he was not tried. He was illegally, charges were dropped because it was all nepotism. It was where, Kim Fox was friends with Michelle Obama's assistant secretary, blah, 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 blah. So therefore, somebody came in, a judge, and said, no, we're going to prosecute this case, because he put this, not only does he put Chicago through hundreds and hundreds of man hours and tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars in resources trying to find out what had happened in their investigation. And then, of course, it took up the airways of the nation. So there's a lot of wounds that need to be healed. And until he pays the price for it, it's still going to be an open wound in this country, because you can see, or I can see, and hopefully I do research, 90% of all hate crimes in America are all self-perpetrated. They're now proving that people are saying, oh, someone painted this on the side of my house. Well, here's a hidden camera, or here's a camera from your neighbor's house showing you painting that on your own house. So people are perpetrating these on for whatever reasons, to say they want attention. Who knows the reason why they're doing it?
It's just crazy. Just what you're saying is so true. Why would he do that? Like, he's a star. Like, it was just confusing to me. I'm just trying to understand the mindset of how he was perceiving that. Like, you're already well known on TV. Like, why would you want to go and lie and create that hate crime? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, they say that he was wanting to get a higher salary at his job, which is a hogwash. He was doing it to cause political turmoil in this country amongst the citizenry, because as if, it's not enough. It's, to me, I find it like, how can affluent Black people like Oprah or Jussie Smollett or anybody like that who's got an amazing job and wonderful opportunities that only the country of the United States wouldn't afford them, how can they ever look at themselves and say, I am a victim? A victim of what? You're at the top of your game. How are you a victim? I can say I'm a victim because I'm gay and I don't have my own television show, so therefore I'm a victim. No, it's just opportunity presents itself when you're worthy of it, I believe. I mean, if I had immense talent, I would be at the top of the game. I'm talented enough, but I'm not as talented as I'd like to be or should be to be at the top of the game. So you have to, right now, you guys are designers, you're talented, but are you John Galliano, or are you No, not yet, but these are things that you're going to have to work toward. Now, should people give you an opportunity and say, well, just because you're Black, I'm going to put you on the cover of Vogue? No, you don't want that. You want to earn your place in the fashion world, do you not?
Yeah.
And there have been many who have. Look at Willie Smith. Look at all these people who've come before, who've done all these amazing things, who have immense talent. I think you guys have it, and it's just gonna take time. But Jussie Smollett, they said, oh, he felt like he was deserving and things weren't going as quickly as he'd like, so he wanted additional attention. No, I don't believe that's the real reason why.
Yeah, I understand. And did you guys hear about the statement that Taraji P. Henson brought out after he was sent to jail? What did you guys think about that? Because she said that. Sorry?
She's an idiot.
What did she say?
She said that without taking in case if he's guilty or not, he doesn't deserve the punishment that he got, and if it was somebody else, that it wouldn't be the same punishment.
No, she compared him to Emmett Till.
Oh, that's as well. Yes,
that's where I would say she's an idiot. Emmett Till was a 15-year-old boy in Texas who had approached some white woman and made advances with her, supposedly was what the story was. And so Klansmen, I don't know who they were, went and they got him, and they ended up hanging him and killing him. That is a travesty. That should never happen in any country, let alone the United States of America. And for her to compare and contrast Emmett Till to Jussie Smollett is a slap in the face of history and all of his ancestors and everyone who knows him, and to the nation as a whole. Just goes to show you what an idiot she is. She's got a mouth, but she has no brain.
That's how I find Taraji P. Henson to be a very that speaks her mind. I find her very intelligent in how she portrays things. In this particular case, I was like, what's the meaning behind this? Because I didn't understand it. Why and why now? Because I don't know about you, but I didn't see a statement of her before in this particular case. So I was more wondering why now and what's the meaning of it right now. So that was for me what I was more taking about.
Listen,
in that.
An actor or an actress, they read words from a page that are written by someone else. So you can come across as being, until the camera shut off and then the script is put away, and then your own words and your own head and your own mouth starts flapping. And all of a sudden you can be, I've seen other things with her in the past, and I keep thinking, you know what? I used to admire her as an actress. I thought she was a very beautiful woman, but now I think she's an idiot.
Yeah. Okay.
So hopefully, she can come out and say, I misspoke, because one should never, ever. It's like me trying to compare myself to Rosa Parks and say, I'm not sitting in the back of the bus. You can't just so casually throw those things out there. These historical markers where people are embedded and they realize what a horrible situation Emmett Till, and to compare somebody who is a self-generated hate hoax, who's been proven guilty and has been prosecuted and now is waiting to be prosecuted again, it's just irresponsible.
Yes. What is your thought about it, Jeffrey, for me to close this topic and go to the next one?
With Taraji? You talking about Taraji?
Yes, with Taraji and the old Jussie Smollett case. What do you expect for it to be? What would you do in this case when it comes? Because now they're going to look at it again.
He would do the time. He lied. I mean, it's not like it's not evident. He did it. Like, he lied. He made it up. He fabricated. He need to do the time. I don't care what they're saying. I don't care if they're in high positions. I don't care if they're the wealthiest person on earth. If you lie, you need to do the time, because you told a story that altered a whole bunch of stuff in with people. And to me, he needs to not use him as an example, but let's deal with the you're proven until you're innocent until proven guilty. He's proven guilty, so let's not, alter his sentence just because of who he is. And I think it happens so much. He need to do it. He'll learn, so he can learn not to go in line, make up stories. When you're on TV, that's a totally different story than with reality. You in reality, you can't get away with that. This is something that you went out and you did in off scene, and and created stuff that was already going on, in United States right now, with the racism all over. And then you lied about that, and you think it's a slap on the wrist and you should walk away. No, it's not right.
I mean, we see all the time
Oh my God,
affluent people in the United States or in the world getting away with crimes. Look at Hunter Biden and his laptop. This is another subject, but they were saying, oh, no, you can't talk about that. That's Russian disinformation. Hunter Biden did not do that. That is all generated and planted on that laptop by the Russians. Well, now it's proven that it's not true, that it is indeed all true on that laptop. And that Hunter Biden he's committed so many crimes. I mean, from drugs to purchasing a firearm illegally by filling out a fake or lying on a application form saying that he had never had any crimes or anything committed against him before or against him in the past. Meanwhile, so he is at the time was the son of the vice president of the United States. They brushed it under the rug. Okay. Now, Jussie Smollett is a D-list actor, but he's handsome, he's articulate, and he's got friends in high places. So now they go and they say, what? Okay, let's just sort of smooth it over. But if he had kept his mouth shut and he had apologized at the onset, I don't think the country would be so insistent upon him doing his time. They'd say, okay, I think there's been remorse, there's contrition, he's learned from his mistakes, let's move on. Now he's up there saying all this, they want him to pay every single minute, every second of the sentence and then some.
Yes. And what do you guys believe for his, and that's the last thing I'm going to say, ask about this topic. What do you guys believe about his career? Is it over, or do you see a possibility of him coming back?
You think it's coming back? I think it's over. And I think anybody who aligns or associates with him after all this, then they should be ostracized. That company or that production company, anything, they should be ostracized. Don't have anything to do with anybody who's tried to put immeasurable harm upon this nation. And that's what they were trying to do. Whether you see it or not, I do. I mean, the ramifications would have been great.
And you, Geoffrey, what did you say? Because I didn't hear your answer.
I say they will, because they let him get away with what he did. It's to me, you know what I'm saying? It's just high authority. Like, we don't look at the reality, yeah, that's a norm that he shouldn't be in position to be able to act or, get these, gigs or whatever he, acting sections or whatever he do, but to me personally, I feel like he'll wind up somewhere on somebody's set, or somebody will have sympathy and they'll pull him up by the boot tails and they'll put him up on his position, and it'll be like a brush on across the wrist.
Well, his own cast from Empire didn't want to work with him when he came back the first time.
But I thought they had let him go anyway. I thought they had already let him go. They was going to release him or something.
Yes, that's what I also thought. That they had fired him.
Yeah, they had already released him.
But the thing was, I'd heard he came back for something after he had whatever, and they all gave him the cold shoulder. He was doing something, he was working, and all of his peers, his coworkers were saying, no, keep your distance. But even have you seen that? I don't go off on a tangent, but Dave Chappelle's Netflix show where he says, when that happened, you know who Dave Chappelle is, right?
Yeah.
He says, when Jussie Smollett perpetrated that whole thing, he goes, the black folks, we were all really suspiciously quiet because we knew that was guilty, And you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And honey, me doing what I do and who my friendships and my culture that I've been exposed to all my life, I'm fully aware of things almost on the surface. I can see. So I sit there and I go, this queen is lying her double ass off. There ain't no way. And everybody's going, let the court system work itself out. Let's see how things play out. I said, why waste their time? I know what's going on here. This guy's lying. This queen is out of her mind lying.
Oh, you're so funny, James. You're funny.
But it's the
I
truth.
understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Okay, we're gonna go to the last topic of today. And the last topic I brought it in, it's all about we are living in crazy times. We have just been through a pandemic and we're not sure if it's over yet or not. Everything that's going on in Ukraine, living in fear about what is about to happen. How do you guys keep yourself positive throughout these times? Do you have tips for our viewers out there who are maybe people in Ukraine, who are maybe people who are fearing for their life with what is supposed to happen in the future with this, what's happening right now? How do you guys cope with this? I'm going to start with Geoffery.
Why you want to start with me? Well, my thing is, in these fearless times, I love to create. It keeps me subtle. I read my word and I pray. You know, I just try to stay positive at all because, you know, if you look at that negative, it can make you feel heavy, and you just gotta change your mindset on how you perceive things. Yeah, it's going on, but you don't have to allow yourself to kind of engulf in that world, you know. So that's how I do it. I get in here, I cut hair, I sew and create garments, and I paint and I read, and I just try to stay positive and keep positive people around me and stay lifted up. And if I see somebody down, I try to encourage them so that, you know, all things are possible. Don't look at the negative, you know. So that's my take on it, because it is sometimes it's not good.
And do you believe that because we are all three of us are very creative, do you believe that when you're creative, it is easier to get yourself in the right state of mind in these types of cases?
For me, it is, because sometimes when I create, it creates off of what's going on, and I try to take the negative and create a positive. So I try to create my garments that, you know, with vibrant colors. I try to change the dynamics and not look so much on the dark. Like, you know, sometimes they want to, you know, designers that create the black, all black. And so I do the opposite, because I feel like, you know, you have to be the light in dark places. So that's what I do. I try to paint according to the opposite of the negative. And that's just my perception on how I see it, you know, and I run with it, and it works for me, and it works for, you know, people that, you know, love what I do, you know. And I don't always trying to be a smiley person, even though I may be going through stuff. I still stay positive. Everybody don't have to know what you're going through. You don't have to see it, because you don't want people speaking negative into your ear, into your life. So you just say, you know, all things are well, and keep it moving.
When I get depressed, I play with my pussy.
We're gonna delete that, right?
No, this is my pussycat right here.
And I was about
Look at my glass.
I was about to say, yeah, I'm going to give it to James now, because James is coming with something. Look at this.
Yeah.
James, but I believe that your answer is going to be, I laugh. I'm sure that I laugh every day, because
I play with my pussy is aggressive. Look at this thing.
Oh my God, help you.
Bad kitty. Look at it.
oh.
Bad pussy. So yeah, sorry, I love to play with my pussy. He's so sweetheart.
Thank you for the laugh. Thank you for the laugh. I really appreciate it.
But it needs so much attention.
And on that note, my throat is dry. I will drink some water.
And Jeremy's drinking water like, I'm going to sip on this water and be quiet. But tell us, James, give us more tips. How do
Well,
you do that?
honestly, I've always been the type of person who's been a barometer for negativity. It's always come my way, but I just I have a field. It bounces right off of me.
Wow.
Whenever you try to elevate yourself, there's a term in the UK, it's quite popular. It's called tall poppy syndrome, which I don't know if you know what tall poppy syndrome is, but it's when you grow above, the poppies grow above the grasses. People want to mow it down. They want to take it down. So whenever you try, let me read you the exact quote of what a tall poppy syndrome is. But whenever you, what's that? So when you, here we go, tall poppy syndrome. Tall poppy syndrome is a cultural phenomenon which people hold back criticism and sabotage those who have or they believe to have achieved notable successes in one or more aspect of their life, particularly intellectually or culturally, by cutting them down, cutting the poppy down. So if you try to, build yourself up and you do something with your life, Jeff, and the people who are close to you, like, oh, honey, who does he think he is? He's not gonna be doing that, because they're looking at their lives and they're still here and you're going this way. And then they say, they want to bring you down a notch or two. Same way with you, Odair. I don't know, your life, but in the drag world, before this RuPaul's Drag Race came on, people were always very high. But once you began to, leave the pack behind and you start getting on television and you start doing little bits in movies and people want to tear you down. They think, oh, this thing thinks she's all that. Let me bring her down a notch or two. So I've always had negativity come my way, and I just had to learn to just remember that at the end of the day, it all washes off. It's not who I am. It's not who I want to be. It's a character I create. Just like you may go to Disney World and put on a Mickey Mouse outfit. You're not Mickey Mouse. When you go home, you're you again. Or if you put on a uniform and you go to work, you're a police officer. But when you get home, you take that uniform off. That's not who you are. Well, that's my character. That's not who I am. I don't want to be that character 24 hours a day. It's too time consuming. Plus, it's exhausting. So I have come to realize that it's not me that they're attacking personally. It's the character.
Yes, and that's an important point that you're making there, because it's to make a difference between those two things is very important. It's very important, and I believe so. That's a very good tip for people out there. For me, what I normally do in those cases, I like to go to the gym to clear my mind and to get everything out and to sweat it all out and to think of everything with a clear mind. And normally when I'm done with my gym session, that helps as well. But also not allowing anyone's energy to influence how I feel. I feel the way I want to feel. I take responsibility of my life. I take responsibility of how I live and how I go forward. In this case, of the situation that we're living right now with the war in Ukraine going on and everything, I try not to let that come too close, because for me, I found it very emotional to see. We had this topic a few weeks ago and you guys also told me, like, you are so quiet today. The reason I was quiet is because, like I also told in the show, I'm very disappointed with what we're going through right now, and not in a case, I'm using the word I, but I mean we as a human being should be very disappointed, because we have so much more to be worried about that needs our attention for us to grow and go. I believe in always going to another level, and this makes me very sad to see that we are doing this right now. And I also refuse to live in fear and everything. So I'm blocking everything that has to do with that. So like James perfectly said, it bounces right back. No, I don't need that energy. Thank you very much. You can sit in the corner over there, but not with me, because no, I don't allow that. And for people out there who are going to difficult moments, who are living in fear, I hope you guys have something on the tips that we gave to you in this last topic of today. And yes, make it the best out there. Make it the best out there. because today is certain, but tomorrow is not promised. So make sure you go and take it all in. Yes. Guys, I want to do a special shout out this week because one of us has showed his collection on International Digital Fashion Week. Our Geoffery, congratulations. I think.
Thank you. I appreciate
How
it.
was it to showcase your collection?
Good. It was good. It was. I actually participated more in the fashion film this time, so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed just being with the models and laughing with them and doing the behind the scenes. I feel my pull. I feel it now. Like now that I'm doing it, that's my love. Like because I always did the barbering and I just did the designing, but I think I'm gonna do full circle and really start, having the vision of this how the makeup want to be, engage with the models, be out there and speak. Because I'm normally the quiet person, and it feels good to have a voice, in a positive light, and models and the production people see that, and it represent who I am, which to me it was good for me. They telling me thank you for the opportunity, and I enjoyed it. I really truly enjoyed it. I enjoy where I'm at right now. It's such a good feeling.
Yes. And we love the colors of your voice. So keep on using it because it looked
Thank you.
amazing. And
Thank you.
I
Thank
hope
you.
everything in your career blows up to all the wishes that you have.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Both of y'all so encouraging today. I just want to say that, James, you have no idea. I get up here, y'all, and I'm always talking, and I got this smile. But as James was saying, sometimes when you're elevating, the people that you want to go, they can't go. And when they see you start going up, they want to pull you down and cut you down. So when James really started talking about that, I kind of got a little emotional, because I'm in a place where sometimes you have to go alone. Success is a lonely road. So I was just like, I was really absorbing that. You never know who God speaks through and how he, it can be an encouragement for you. And that was encouraging for me. And just for you, Odair, just to recognize that, congratulating me on the platforms, your new friends, you never know where they come from. And I feel like y'all are not just friends, y'all are my new family. Don't let me get emotional. And I'm thankful to be a part of the FNL team, because it really is awesome. So thank you all.
We love you.
I love y'all too. Thank you.
We love you. We love you.
And congratulations.
And we love James as well, and his
we love
as well.
James.
We love it all. I want to thank you guys for the show today. If you have something that you want to add up, I want to wish you a very amazing weekend as well. And I hope to see you all in the next FNL talk show. Thank you for being here. Big thanks to you all. From
Stay free, everybody.
We will.